Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Airsoft, where today we're going back to the NAM again and unboxing this CM.009F edition or XM177 E2. So I just want to make a note on safety. Whether I'm disassembling, unboxing, chronoing, whatever it is I'm doing, I always make sure I'm in a completely safe environment. So that means most of my videos I'm always wearing eye protection just to make sure that my eyesight stays safe. Before I do that, I always make sure that there's no ammunition in any of the mags or in the gun itself. I make sure that the mags are unloaded and unwound to make sure that nothing can happen with that. Obviously, if I'm chronoing, then I've absolutely definitely got my eye protection on to protect myself. I even make sure that my batteries are removed and out of the way so that I know I'm in the safe environment. I also make sure that there's nobody else around as well either, so I'm always in a safest possible environment. If you are working with airsoft stuff, please make sure you do the same. Hey guys, and welcome back. If you do enjoy this content today, please do like and subscribe because you'll be really helping me out. So here we've got the fourth unboxing from the July orders, Taiwan Gun orders, that you guys voted for in this set order. So today it's the turn of the XM177, following on from the M16 VN. So we'll get started with the box then. So nice usual plain box, a little bit of stickers from Taiwan Gun and just the sticker on the end indicating what's in there. So this is the E2 version, so sort of like the later version of the XM. The reason I picked this one in particular is just because I like the look of it. Kind of just looks quite compact and stylish. I just liked that particular variant. So under the lid then, you've got the usual target safety information. We've got our downgrade chrono sheet. So again, we're on sort of 350 to 34448. At 348, which for the UK is exactly what I wanted and needed, and I can't thank the guys at Taiwan Gun enough for that downgrade. That's spot on. Get that out of the way. We've then got, like in the 16 VN, the generic manual that comes with their ARs just to show it how to be used. Get this lid out of the way, and there it is. I absolutely love this thing. This for me is even nicer than the VN, but we'll get to that in a minute. I have left the mag out. I'll grab the mag in a second. So you get the 2-pin charger, which unfortunately is no good to me in the UK. It's not a problem. You then get a 9.6 volt identical battery, 1200 milliamp, to the one that's in the M16 VN. There's also the same Allen key, which I've still not discovered yet what the Allen key is for. I dare say it might be for the quick change spring system once we get in there, but I'll confirm that. In fact, I'll get that out to charge. We get our little Dean's to Mini Tamiya connector, which is a really nice touch because I know a lot of people still run Mini Tamiya and they've not been converted and seen the light that is Dean's connections, or T connectors as some people call them. So that's nice that that's in there. Obviously, like I said with the VM video, if you're going to use this, please make sure that the polarities of all your wires match, because I've known people buy batteries or adapters or whatever, and their red wire has gone to a black terminal somewhere and vice versa, and it creates all sorts of issues, and it ends up costing a lot of money to put right the issues that it's caused. So please do check that very carefully. So we'll get this out. Look at that. That is absolutely stunning. I absolutely love it. I know it's just quote unquote another M4. I get that, I totally get it, but just the stylings. I love the muzzle brake, this sort of extended cylinder with a little sort of cuttings in the end. I love that. The handguards I know are wrong. They're too wide. These are more of the modern M4A1 ones. The XM handguards were a lot slimmer than this, but you can sort of overlook it, especially for the price. You know, it looks the part, at least from a distance. If you are one of those people that really needs to know and wants to know sort of what it's doing or what it is, it's stitch counters, I believe is the correct term. If you're that kind of level of person, then those will be wrong. Obviously, there's no trademarks on there, but it has got a unique serial number, which is great. But again, it's the same receiver as the M16, so it's all correct as far as I'm aware, telling from pictures. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we'll do a full rundown in a minute. And then you've got your stock, which again, I believe is the exact correct one that matches it. Now, if I was going to do a NAM loadout now, this is probably the one I would do and get some tiger stripes. Because this just feels better to me. And it comes with the long mag as well, which is the traditional modern AR mag, the what would be a real steel sort of 30-31 rounds. So we'll have a look at the front then. So you've got metal muzzle brake, which is this extended cone. The barrel does start at the end of it. It doesn't actually come anywhere into this at all. So sort of where the barrel ends in here, that's where the outer barrel ends, that's where the inner barrel ends. And this is all sort of empty. Excuse me. In terms of like the GMP one, I used to have the GMP one of this, and this will give you a real crack pop noise on the end that really stood out. It was very distinctive, which was great until you started firing. Then people knew exactly who you were and where you were, and they would usually come and hunt you down pretty quickly. But it's fine. I used to love it. A bit extra firefight. You got obviously metal outer barrel, metal front sight. You got polymer handguards, which you pull down on the delta ring like you do on a traditional M4A1, and this nice and firm to get out. You know, it's not easily going to just drop out, sort of misgain or whatever, and that reveals our wiring. So this is more what I would refer to as a traditional M4 wiring. You've got connectors here and here. What I would say is you might want to tape these or shrink wrap these up, because these exposed bits of metal could cause shorts at some point. So it's just something to be aware of. So the batteries then, when you insert them into the handguard, what you're looking to do is ideally is straddle them either side of the outer barrel there, and they will click in nicely past these little pegs. That way then it's going to keep it nice and neat up there, and then plug the wiring in. In terms of the lipos, they will fit better if you're going to use a lipo, particularly the 7.4 will sit much more easily in like that for the wiring, giving you plenty of room to then seal it up. And even the 11.1 will fit quite nicely in there. So if we get that in the right arrangement, so one in there, then the middle one over there, and then that one can stay in there and go in the bottom handguard, and then you've still got room. Jiggle the wiring about a little bit, but you can even get an 11.1 in there in that configuration, which is really handy. It's quite a bit of room, so it's maybe not a bad thing for battery capacity to have the more modern handguards, but definitely look to cover these connectors up to prevent any sort of shorting against the outer barrel. So you then got a metal delta ring that obviously helps to keep these in place, and it's obviously part of the barrel nut system to keep the outer barrel onto the upper receiver, which we'll look at that in the disassembly later this week. Obviously full metal receiver, pretty much everything on here is metal apart from your pistol grip, your stock and your handguards. Everything else is metal, and it feels solid for it. You know, there's virtually no movement in anything. It's lovely. I believe, like the M16, if I pull the charging handle back, I should be able to, and I can lock the ejection port open, excuse me, and I can access the exact same single one-piece hop unit, metal M4 style hop unit, which is nice. I'll release that. I always find that quite satisfying. Then obviously moving on to your pistol grip, you've got the correct style pistol grip for the XM with the sort of like bulb at the front there. What I would say is possibly file down these little corners, because they're not sharp, but they can be a little bit uncomfortable, particularly if you've not got gloves on and just catching on your knuckles where you've got your fingers wrapped round. That's just a note from myself. And then you've got your stock itself, which you've got 1, 2, and that's it. That is a 2-position stock, all the way in or all the way out. There is no in between on this bad boy. For me, luckily enough, I would play with it all the way in anyway, because I find that most comfortable, to be as compact as possible. But that's obviously something to be aware of. What I will explore when we're doing the disassembly is if there is enough room and space to actually make this into a battery stock, where you can put the battery in the stock itself, in the stock tube, instead of having to have it in the handguard, because I know some people prefer it in the stock tube, other people prefer it in the handguard, and some just don't care either way, as long as the battery goes pew pew pew. Totally fine. So what I'll do now is I'll cut to some footage of the range check and the rate of fire check across all 3 batteries, and then we'll come back and see where we are with that. Yeah, just shot 16. That's the original battery. So very, very similar to the 16 and a 7.4. And an 11.1. So first of all, then the range check was doing using a 0.25 gram BB, which is what people told me the most common weight that people use is 0.25 gram BB, and I can say it was easily matching the M16 VN, and it was doing about 40 meters pretty much on the nose, and that's brand new with the first mag through it, no bedding in, no fine tweaking or anything like that. So that tight bore barrel is really doing a good job. What I did notice, although I've got no particular targets to test, it did look like the BB spread a little bit more at longer range than they did with this. Than they did with the 16 VN. So that might be down to the length of the barrel, because that is a long barrel. It's like a 50 centimeter barrel that's in that, and this is about 36, maybe a little bit shorter, maybe 330 centimeter barrel in this. But there seemed to be a little bit more spread when shooting this, right at the end of its sort of flight of BBs, than the 16. Hopefully in time I'm looking towards getting a little bit of land somewhere where I can set up a little bit of a range with targets, and I can do proper accuracy tests as part of these unboxings. Obviously in terms of rate of fire then, I was quite impressed that the 9.6, like the M16, outperformed the 7.4. In fact, to be fair, if I hadn't known and weren't looking, I would have said that both guns, I would never have guessed that both guns pretty much performed exactly the same. And I almost expected different, just because slightly different build, or different technician might have built it, or just tolerances in parts and compatibility of whatever. But they pretty much come out of the box absolutely spot on out the nose, identical figures, and I was a little bit taken like, wow, that's impressive. So the 7.4 was sort of like your, was it about 12-13 rounds per second. Your 9.6 outperformed that, but like I said with the 16 VN, this will not last you a full day. The 2200 milliamp of that will pretty much, unless you're really, really trigger happy like Pheas is, that would more likely to last you a full day. That you're going to need at least 2 of those to get you through a day. The 11.1 obviously just blew both away, as we know it would. Even though it's the high-speed motor that's in there, it is still, even on both of those, it's not quite the high-speed rate of fire that we would expect. So a high-speed motor might still be warranted or needed, particularly if you're one of these people that likes to upgrade stuff once you've got them. But overall, I've been really, really impressed with that, and the great pieces of kit, and the fact that there's so little performance between them both. It literally is down to a choice of which do you like the look of the most, because you're going to get identical guns. Obviously, the MOSFET must be identical because it's got the same little jingle as the VM. The jingle is slightly different to the ones that we've seen in the Platinum Edition, 97 and 98 editions. So part of me thinks, have they upgraded it slightly? Have they just changed the programming of it? I'm not entirely sure, but obviously the jingle is different, which indicates to me that there is something different about it. So what I'll do is I'll plug the batteries in quickly, just so you can see what they sound like up close. Again, this was similar to the VN in that it had the sort of little bit of sound like the motor just needs adjusting a little bit, and that's something that we could do over time. But we'll go for the 7.4 volt first. So there's the little jingle. So safe, nothing, single or semi. I mean, by no means is it sluggish when you pull that trigger, you know, even on the 7.4. It's turning over nice and snappy. Full auto, you know, that's a respectable rate of fire. It's definitely not going to cause massive issues, and people are generally going to be happy with that. So next then we'll do the 9.6 volt, 1200 milliamp. This is fully charged. So safe, semi. It's definitely snappier on this battery. As much as I hate to say that, at the same time it's probably a good thing as well that you understand that this is going to do a good job of powering your gun if you don't have a battery yet. Full auto then. That is satisfying to fire. Actually, the motor's not been adjusted. It does sound, although it's still a bit scratchy, it does probably need a little bit of adjustment. It's not as bad as the M16's was. And then last but not least, we've got the 11.1. Quite like that jingle now. So safe, semi. I've not even finished pulling the trigger and it's already completed. That's really nice. I love that. Full auto then. Just like the VN, that's. I was going to say got me excited, but that implies that something else is happening to Pheas there at that rate of fire. That usually is only reserved for AKs. Paul, you know what I'm talking about. That's, you know, really impressed me. The build quality of it is absolutely solid. You know, it pretty much, well, it is just the same gun internally as the M16 VN. So you really can't go wrong regardless of which of the options that you pick. And it purely comes down to a choice of, do you want compact and, you know, sort of cool, or do you want big and long and cool? They've also got the XM177 as well in there, so you've got a choice of variants, and it's lovely that they've put the effort into that so that those of us that love NAM or just like the older school weapons have got some real choice in there. Pre-upgraded out of the box as well, which will confirm for definite the quick change spring system, if it is in there. I assume it is, if the MOSFET is, and other things. Absolutely brilliant build. I'm really, really happy with it and really pleased, to the point where I might even keep this one. So I'll leave you the usual photos. If you have enjoyed this today, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.